Why even try? Well, maybe it's this. Maybe Proverbs 5:18 and 19 is not true in their marriage. What does Proverbs 5:18 and 19 say? Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. A lovely deer, a gracious doe, let her breasts fill you at all times with delight. Be intoxicated always in her love. That's the ideal for a Christian marriage. That you would be enchanted with your wife, that you would be enthralled with your wife, that you would be allured by your wife, that she would be like a fountain to you, that you would rejoice in her all of her days. Even as you grow older, your bodies change, your hormones change. You look a little bit different. You get a little bit more wrinkly. Gravity has its effect on everybody, right? There's nobody for whom gravity doesn't have its effect. And if gravity doesn't have its effect, what do? You have to get Botox and fillers and all this artificial stuff and plastic surgeries and so forth. I look at people like that and I'm like, you think that's attractive? Because I think it's actually more attractive to just grow old naturally, right? And within your marriage, what you have to do, the only way, is to continue to cultivate this blessedness of the enchantment of desire with your spouse. And that means husbands, and that means wives, if you're listening out there. I know only 20% of you are women that listen to this channel. It's mostly a guy channel. I understand that. But you better intentionally pursue intimacy, because the moment your intimacy drops, even because of natural things like hormone changes and aging, there's going to be a little bit more risk exposure to your marriage, either on your side or his or somewhere mutually in between. You have to do everything you can, brothers, fathers, friends, sisters, wives out there. You've got to do everything you can to preserve the marital intimacy that you do have while you have it. Keep it going. Keep that fire hot. Okay. Keep it pure and faithful, but keep that marital intimacy hot. Okay. Next, guys, I could easily smash on men and their wily predispositions to wickedness all day long. Okay. Men are easy targets, but in fairness, I do want to say that I really believe that the rise of feminism is also to blame here. Okay. Now, I'm not blaming everything on the women, but neither am I excusing them either, because it takes two to tango, and adultery, assuming here that we're talking about mutually consenting relations, takes two people. And the book of Proverbs gives ample warning about sexually aggressive women. Look at Proverbs 7:21. With much seductive speech, she persuades him. With her smooth talk, she compels him. Read the whole chapter of Proverbs chapter 7. And what you're going to see is there truly is a category of sexually aggressive women. Now, you say, well, mentioning feminism is anachronistic to Proverbs chapter 7. Fair enough. I'll take that as a critique. However, the feminist movement that is so intrinsic to our modern culture here in the West has undoubtedly done inexplicable damage to our culture. Now, there are ways that feminism has been good, for instance, with ownership rights and women getting certain jobs within our economy and ability to vote and suffrage and all these kinds of things. Let's set that aside. But feminism has overly sexualized our women. It has overly sexualized our daughters. It has put a premium on reproductive freedoms, including reproductive so-called freedoms of abortion, which is a terrible sin. It's made divorce at no fault in many occasions. It's made sexual advances of women upon married men something of a norm within our culture. And in so many ways, feminism has actually been counterproductive and destructive to our culture that I really believe we need to begin calling that out. And even with my new book, Bold as a Lion, Christian Courage in an Age of Cowards, we have to start calling out some of these trends that are detrimental to the family, detrimental to marriage, detrimental to church. And feminism is one of them. It needs to be called out. There probably was a time where we really needed to do more with women's rights. Obviously, chauvinism is a real thing. No question about that. There are cultures and societies and mores that are absolutely damaging and diminishing to women. Very true. Even within the church, also true. However, the fact that feminism is the solution to these problems, I don't buy it. I look at the feminist movement and I see largely a destructive movement that has made women much more inclined not to get married, to have lesser and fewer children, to be more sexually promiscuous, more sexually aggressive, oftentimes to the destruction of somebody else's marriage and somebody else's livelihood. And so there is such a thing as a Proverbs 7 woman, no doubt about that. And unfortunately, modern feminism encourages that very kind of behavior that we read about in Proverbs 7 rather than discouraging it. So we at least have to throw that out there as a factor. Now, again, you could say things like, yeah, but pastors, they have power structures and power authority and they have leverage over their membership and so forth. And yeah, all that's true. That's fine. But that's not to diminish the fact that there are women who have experienced some sort of demonic sexual liberation and think of themselves as basically free agents on the chessboard to do whatever they want with whoever they want, often at great cost to society and families in particular.